Math and Bent. In today's video, I'll be discussing questions from CSIR NET 2012 December and June session. These questions are from the chapter Vector Space. So let us see the first question. Let n be an integer n greater or equals to 3 and let u1, u2 up to un be n linearly independent elements in a vector space over R. Set u0 equals to 0 and un plus 1 equals to u1. So here it is given that in a vector space u1, u2 up to un, this is linearly independent subset of a vector space. After that it is given u0 equals to 0 and un plus 1 equals to u1. Define vi and wi as vi is ui plus ui plus 1 and wi is ui minus 1 plus ui. So here vi is defined as ui plus ui plus 1, where I is running from 1 to n, and wi is defined as ui minus 1 plus ui, and here also I is running from 1 to n. So let us solve this question. So in the option 1, v1 to vn are linearly independent if n equals to 2010. This is linearly vi's are linearly independent if n equals to 2011. wi's are linearly independent if n is 2010 and wi's are linearly independent if n is 2011. So first let us see what are vi's and wi's. Okay. So v1 is what? u1 plus u2. So here v1 is u1 plus u2. After that v2 equals to what? v2 is u2 plus u3. What will be v3? v3 is u3 plus u4. Okay. So if we go on like this, then vn minus 1 equals to vn minus 1 plus vn, and if we write vn, that will be, so vn will be un plus un minus 1, and here it is given that un plus 1 is equals to u1. So in place of un plus 1, that will be u1. So vn will be un plus u1. So this is u1, this is un minus 1 u plus un. Okay. So we know that if these are the change basis, if these are the, suppose vi's are the linear combination of ui's such that vi's can be written as like this, where a is the coefficient of these elements, then if u is a linearly independent subset of v, then v is also a linearly independent subset of v if and only if a is invertible. So here it is given that u equals to u1, u2 up to un. So v is linearly independent. Here it is given that u is linearly independent. So v is linearly independent if and only if a is invertible. So we need to check what will be u in this case, what will be this A matrix in this case, and what will be the matrix A in this case. So let us see this v1 case, vi case. So here A will be this matrix. Here 1 1, other terms are 0. So it is 1 1 0 0 up to 0 0. After that it will be 0 1 1 0 0 0. So 0 1 1 0 0 0. So after that the term will be 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0. So if we go on like this, it will be 0, 0. In this Vn minus 1 case, it will be 0, 0, 0, 0, and this last two term will be 1, 1. But in case of Vn, it will be 1, 0, 0, 0 up to 0, 1. Okay. So we need to check. So, and this is an n cross n matrix. So we need to check whether this A matrix is invertible or not. So let us try to find the determinant of this matrix. So determinant of A will be, so 1 into, if we delete this row and this row, I mean we need to check what is the cofactor of 1, that will be this matrix. So it is determinant of 1, 1, 0, 0, 0. After that it will be 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, and like this it will be 0, 0, and this last position is 1. And these all terms are 0 and the last term is 1. What is this position? This position is n1, 1n position. So plus minus 1 power n plus 1, and the cofactor and the minor of that element, I mean the minor or cofactor, the cofactor of this one element will be minus 1 power n plus 1, and if we delete this row and this column, it will be 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, and like this it will be 0, 0, 0, 1, 1. Okay. So clearly this is a lower triangular matrix. So what is the determinant of a lower triangular matrix? The determinant of a lower triangular matrix R is the multiplication of its diagonal elements. So here the diagonal elements are 1 only. So this matrix has determinant 1. So this is 1 plus minus 1 power n plus 1. What is this? This is an upper triangular matrix. So what is the determinant of an upper triangular matrix? That is the multiplication of its diagonal elements. So the diagonal elements in this determinant are 1. So here this determinant equals to 1. So this is into 1. So this is 1 plus minus 1 power n plus 1. Okay. So if n is even, then determinant of A will be what? If n is even, this is even plus 1, so odd, minus 1 power odd is minus 1, so this is 0. If n is odd, then this term is even, so determinant of A will be 1 plus 1, this is 2. So if n is odd, in that case A is invertible since its determinant is non-zero. So in this case the VI's are linearly independent. But if n is even, in that case determinant of A is 0. So A is not invertible. This implies VI's are linearly dependent. So from here we can conclude that if n odd, then linearly independent, and if n is even, not linearly independent. So here n is even, so it is not linearly independent, but here it is n is even, so VI's are linearly independent. So option 1 is false, but option 2 is true. Now let us see this Wi. So Wi's are what? Wi's are Wi equals to Ui minus 1 plus Ui. So what will be W1? W1 will be U0 plus U1, and U0 is given as 0. So let us see what happens. So Wi equals to ui minus 1 plus ui. W1 is what? W1 is u0 plus u1. u0 is 0, so this will be u1. After that, W2. What is W2? W2 is u1 plus u2. What is W3? W3 is u2 plus u3. And if we go on like this, Wn is un minus 1 plus un. So what will be the matrix here? Here the coefficient matrix will be here 1, and after that all terms are 0. So 1 0 0 0. Here it is 1 1 0 0 0. Here it is 0 1 1 and the rest are 0. So 0 1 1 0 0 0. And the last column will be 0 0 up to 1 1. So this A is an upper triangular matrix. So in case of upper triangular matrix, the determinant is the multiplication of its diagonal elements. So here determinant is 1. So A is always invertible, and since A is invertible, these Wi's are always linearly independent. So it does not depend on the value of n, whether n is odd or even. This will always be linearly independent. So in this case, this is linearly independent and this is also linearly independent. So option 3 and 4 are the correct option. So in this question, the correct options are 2, 3 and 4. Let us now come to the next question. Okay, so the next question is, let V1, V2 be subspaces of a vector space V. Which of the following is necessarily a subspace of V? So V1, V2 are subspaces of V, which is a vector space. We need to check whether V1 intersection V2, V1 union V2, V1 plus V2 and V1 minus V2 are linearly are subspaces of V or not. Okay. So let us first see this option, V1 union V2. There is a theorem which is V1 union V2 is a subspace of the whole space V, whole vector space V, if and only if either V1 is contained in V2 or V2 is contained in V1. But in the question, it is not given that whether V1 is contained in V2 or V2 is contained in V1. So here V1, V2 are only subspaces of V. So if these does not hold for any subspaces, then V1 union V2 will never be a subspace of V. So option 2 is the false option. Now let us see V1 intersection V2. Okay, so 0 element, we first need to check whether 0 element belongs to V1 intersection V2. That means whether V1 intersection V2 is non-empty or not. So since 0 elements always belong to V1 intersection V2, so this is non-empty. Let us take two elements alpha beta from V1 intersection V2 and C from the field F. So this implies alpha beta belongs to V1 and alpha beta belongs to V2. Okay. Now since V1 and V2 are subspaces of V, then we can conclude C alpha plus beta belongs to V1 and C alpha plus beta belongs to V2. What is the reason for this? The reason for this is V1 and V2 are subspaces of V. So from here we can say that C alpha plus beta belongs to both V1 and V2. So this belongs to V1 intersection V2. So V1 intersection V2 must be a subspace of V. So option 1 is the correct option. Now let us check this option V1 plus V2. Similarly, 0 plus 0 equals to 0 always belongs to V1 plus V2. So this is non-empty. Now let us take two elements, alpha beta from V1 plus V2 and C from F. So since alpha belongs to V1 plus V2, so alpha can be written as alpha 1 plus alpha 2 such that this alpha 1 belongs to V1 and this alpha 2 belongs to V2. Similarly, beta belongs to V1 plus V2. This implies beta equals to some beta 1 plus beta 2, where this beta 1 belongs to V1 and beta 2 belongs to V2. So let us now check what is C alpha plus beta, whether this belongs to V1 plus V2 or not. So this can be written as C into alpha plus alpha 2 plus beta 1 plus beta 2. Okay. So by associative property we can say that C, or we can say by commutative property of the vector space V, C alpha 1 plus beta 1 plus C alpha 2 plus beta 2. This can be written as this. Now alpha 1 beta 1 belongs to V1 and C belongs to F. So C alpha 1 plus beta 1 belongs to V1 since V1 is a subspace of V. Again, C belongs to F, alpha 2 belongs to V2, beta 2 belongs to V2. So C into alpha 2 plus beta 2 belongs to V2. Why? Because V2 is a subspace of V. So clearly this portion belongs to V1 and this portion belongs to V2. So C alpha plus beta belongs to V1 plus V2. So V1 plus V2 is a subspace of V. Let us now check the last option, that is V1 minus V2. V1 minus V2 is defined as all those elements present in V1 which are not in V2. If we subtract the elements of V2 from V1, that will be, 0 element belongs to V2. So 0 element does not belongs to V1 minus V2. If the 0 element is always the identity element of a vector space, if the identity element does not belongs to this space, so it can never be a subspace of V. So this option is a false option. So in this question, the correct options are, this is a subspace, this is not a subspace, this is a subspace, and this is not a subspace. So the correct options are 1 and option 3, and 2 and 4 are the false option. Okay. Thanks for watching this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel Math Invent for more videos. Thank you.